Hello guys, I am back from another video on the deku was a super soldier. So in the last video deku, well, back when or should I say Izuku was in the training camp, Class 1A arrived as they were told that they're going to be training so they can make themselves less mediocre. So, after meeting them, Class 1B was getting ready, and also Class 1A was also getting ready for their special activity being the bravery test. So, after they gone into the forest and getting jump scared by these really cheap looking props that are basically from the dollar store or something like that, they were attacked by assassins from the Yakuza. Apparently, they wanted to recapture Izuku again and bring him back to his usual self, quote unquote. So, after Izuku resisted them and also defeated them, let's just say Overhaul was not happy and wanted to bring Izuku back to his senses. As in senses, I mean bringing him back to his usual self. As in usual self, I mean turning him back into the murderous psychopath, the Reaper. So, after they were told that, Izuku defeated them, he decides to go to UA with his, best minions to recapture Izuku. So, after they arrived at Class 1A, or should I say UA High, they basically terrorized the place and tried to bring Izuku back. But after a while, Izuku keeps resisting him, telling him to go frick himself, until Overhaul told his story. He wanted to become a hero, but because of that, his mother and father were executed and killed. And now, when he was left on the streets, he was saved by the original leader of the Yakuza. And because of this, he now hated Hero Society. The reason why he saved Izuku is to try and be a father figure. After all, Izuku did, or at least once was bullied because he was quirkless. And he wanted to make Izuku strong, powerful enough to become the brand new leader of the Yakuza and bringing this world to its knees. So, after Izuku says no for the one last time, Overhaul had enough. And now, they're getting ready to fight. That's where we end the last video, the last episode. So, let's talk about what happens next. So, two of his best minions start charging towards Izuku, as Izuku blocks their attack by using his lance. As Overhaul himself starts charging towards them, creating these thrusters made out of earth, as it bursts out this energy that's basically similar to the propulsion of a vernier from Gundam. So he charges towards them and gets ready to slash him with a blade made out of concrete, as All Might basically arrives and blocks the attack. All Might throws him back as All Might says this: "It's nice to meet you, Overhaul. It's our first time meeting. The leader of the Yakuza, apparently you call yourself. And you call yourself the so-called father of Izuku. I prefer to call you a scumbag for using this child as a human experiment. You're below scum. You're below a freaking demon." As Overhaul says this: "Shut up, shut up, shut up! You damn hero! You call yourselves heroes when you use your power and influence to use it to just ruin other lives. Now, pay!" As he creates a blast made out of fire that's coming out of one of the circuits of a broken wire of the wall that he destroyed. So, he shoots out a blast of it as All Might blocks the attack again. So, Izuku starts helping him by getting ready to launch an attack at Overhaul, but Overhaul was protected by another one of his minions, which had a almost similar quirk to Kirishima and Tetsu Tetsu, but instead of like transforming into, metal, or skin starts turning into craggly, like, like earth, or basically like that. Instead, it turns it into basically obsidian, even though obsidian in real life is basically super fragile. Just imagine it like Minecraft obsidian. So, after he does that, he says this. Nice to meet you. I'm your successor. You can call me the Reaper 2.0. Hello, my, let's just say brother, as he says this. Shut up, shut up. You call yourselves heroes of justice when your so-called, well, my own father is nothing more than a villain. As he says this. Oh, come on, Overhaul is better than these stupid heroes. And besides, you're just brainwashed. As Izuku just says this. What do you mean by that? As he says this. These heroes just use their quirks to just brainwash the masses, using their power and influence and their hero status to just do whatever the hell they want, even using their power to human traffic somebody. It makes me sick, and that is why, as he brings out a large scythe, this scythe had instead of a regular blade, it's a chainsaw. He says this. I'm going to save this world from its own mistakes. And I'm gonna do that to you. And making you remember who you really are. As he starts charging towards Izuku, Izuku starts using his lance to start blocking his attacks again, while he uses his gun to start shooting at him. For All Might and Overhaul, Overhaul starts spouting how much heroes destroyed his life, and he wanted to become a hero, but these heroes, these so-called heroes in training, just used their power and influence to just destroy his entire family. As All Might says this. I'm really sorry that I wasn't there to just help you, but after when I saw you, after I saw all of your misdeeds, you must be stopped. As he says this. You can go die in hell, All Might, you so-called hero of justice, you so-called number one hero. As he creates blades made out of earth, these blades start floating up in the sky as he throws at rapid speeds. So, the rest of the heroes in training started fighting off these Yakuza members. As for the League of Villains, apparently the League of Villains have left. Apparently they have dissolved after the Yakuza gained more power and influence. Even O for One didn't want to mess with them, so he basically ran away. Nobody ever saw him after that. So basically now the Yakuza is basically the main concern of this story now. So yeah, the League of Villains are basically like, just stupid plot threads or something. So, after a while of fighting, Izuku sees a weak spot in this brand new Reaper 2.0, which is his mask. His mask seems to be more fragile. After a while of strikes, while he was still fighting him, when he shoots his bullets at it, it basically makes a crack, almost like glass. So, when Izuku thought of it, Izuku decides to go for his mask. So, after finding the perfect position to basically distract him, Izuku distracts him by saying that Overhaul needs some help. As he starts charging towards wait for a second, Overhaul needs some help. So, he starts charging towards him saying, "What is it, master?" As Overhaul says this, "What are you doing, you damn fool?" As Izuku just says this. There we go. As Izuku gets his gun and says this, "Jackpot," and shoots him right in the back of his skull as it breaks the mask. When when he breaks the mask, he starts breathing heavily, saying, "I can't breathe." His skin starts turning into a pale color as his eyes start rolling in the back of his head. He starts foaming at the mouth and says this, "Somebody help me." As he says this, Overhaul, father, help me. As Overhaul says this, sorry, but sacrifices must be made. So, he grabs the Reaper 2.0 and rips his head off, saying, this is a mercy kill. You won't feel any more pain. As when Izuku saw that, Izuku starts feeling so much rage. Like, back when he was still being controlled by Overhaul, back when he was still called the Reaper, he felt that rage again. As Izuku just says this, Overhaul! As Izuku starts charging at him, as he grows fangs like a monster, as his hair starts growing longer, his hair starts turning a bit of white, as Izuku just says this, you killed him! As he says this, killed them. You're the one who killed them, including that so-called he, as he says this, shut up, shut up, shut up! As Izuku gets ready to slash him right in the head, Izuku gets blocked by a massive, like helmet made out of earth. As Izuku just says this, just die already! You killed him! As he says this, I did not kill him. You're the one who killed him. I just stopped his suffering. As Izuku just says this, just die, just die. As Izuku starts walking on all fours, as he starts shooting out tons and tons of these bullets. Wait for a second. As a ton of these bullets started firing out, Izuku started blocking the attacks from Overhaul as he starts getting shot by these bullets. These bullets basically break some of his armor off. As Overhaul says this, why you impertinent brat? As he says this, take this. This is what I call grounding. As he creates a tomb made out of earth and traps Izuku in it. As when everybody stopped fighting and finished off the rest of these, Yakuza members, they see Izuku trapped in that tomb. As Overhaul says this, finally, you're back with me, Izuku. Back to being my son. As when Nejiri sees this, she says this, don't you dare touch him! As she starts charging towards him and gets ready to fire off a blast. As Overhaul says this, you damn brat. As he throws a blast of energy right at Nejiri, causing her to get scarred. She kind of gets a scar on her face as everybody sees it. They say this, what did you do to Nejiri? As he says this is what she gets for corrupting my child. This is what she gets for daring to touch my child. This is what she gets for daring to defy me. As they hear the rumbling of that tomb, that rock tomb that Izuku is trapped in. As Izuku breaks out, Izuku looks like he's about to murder him. His bloodlust is massive, so intoxicating, to the point that it feels like a goddamn smoke cloud that can suffocate you. Everybody starts moving back. Izuku looks like he's about to murder him. Izuku grabs his lance as Izuku just says this, kill, kill, kill. As Izuku just charges towards him, as he says this, I will kill you, I will kill you. As Izuku grabs his gun and starts shooting at him at rapid speeds, almost like the gun is basically a Glock. As Overhaul starts trying to dodge it, but the bullets start breaking his armor, almost like it's almost like a minigun. As Overhaul says this, that is enough, we should start leaving. As one of his minions say this, yeah, we should start leaving now. As he grabs onto Overhaul's back, they disappear. So, when Izuku saw that they disappear, Izuku just cried out, saying, "Overhaul! Come back, you damn coward!" As everybody saw Izuku transformed into whatever this being is. As Nedry says this, "Izuku, please stop! This is not you, please!" As when Izuku saw Nedry with that scar, Izuku was pissed. As Izuku just says this, "Who did this to you?" As Nedry says this, "It's Overhaul." As Izuku just says this, "Overhaul did this to you? You. As Izuku punches the ground, as the ground shakes like an earthquake, as everybody feels it, they feel Izuku's rage and bloodlust. As Izuku just says this, "Overhaul, I will kill you for doing that to my sweetheart. I will kill you." As when the damage was done, well, everybody was told that they're going to be going back to their dorms, including Izuku. He should try to rest for now. Because of what he did, he needs to get some rest. That bloodlust must have, just stolen, or should I say, zapped him of all of his energy. So, it's better for Izuku to just rest for now. So, Izuku rests as Izuku sees his little sister, Eri. As Eri says this, "Hey, brother, what happened to you?" As Izuku just says this, "It's nothing, Eri. It's nothing, Eri. Just me alone." As Eri says this, "But, brother, you..." As Izuku just says this, "I said just leave me alone." As she says this, right. So, Izuku was left to his own devices. He was tired. Tired of whatever Overhaul did. He wants revenge on what he did to Nedry. He wants him to pay. So, Izuku decides to get some rest and decides to get some sleep. So, when Izuku wakes up as he gets a knock on the door. It's the UA staff. So, the UA's staff tells Izuku that they're planning to go to the headquarters of the Yakuza. So, but they need some help. They need some help finding that area. So they asked Izuku. So, they asked Izuku where did the Yakuza's, hideout is. As Izuku just says this, "I can't remember. The only thing I remember back then was I was going through this cave and going through this disgusting and almost rundown neighborhood. That's what I remember at least." As I meant All Might says this, "Really? If it's from a rundown neighborhood, do you remember anything special about it? Like, for example, a building?" As Izuku remembers something. As Izuku just says this, "Wait a minute. I remember that there was some sort of drugstore." As one of them, being Vlad King, says this. "Yeah, what is it called anyway?" As Izuku just says this, "I think it was called Hermes, Hermes something." As he says this, "Very well, we should try and find this Hermes, whatever this thing's called." So, after they leave, Izuku was just left all alone. As Izuku just says this, It's all my fault that I made Nedry fall into that trap. It's my fault for scarring Nedry. It's my fault. As Izuku gets another knock at the door, as Izuku just says this, what is it again? Oh my. As Izuku sees Nedry. Nedry was wearing a bandage on her face. As Izuku just says this. Nedry. As, well, Nedry says this. Izuku. As Izuku just says this. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry that I made you like this. I'm sorry that I literally made you scarred. I'm sorry. As she says this. You don't really need to be sorry for anything. Don't worry, I'm okay, but as Izuku just says this. No, it's not okay. I'm sorry that I made you go into danger. I'm sorry. As two other people were there, being Tamaki and Mirio. As Mirio says this. So, Izuku, it seems that you're quite the lovebird. As Izuku just says this. Hello, Mr. Mirio and Mr. Tamaki. As Tamaki says this. Hi. It's nice to meet you. As Izuku just says this to, Nedry. I'm really sorry for what I did. I'm sorry that I made you jump into danger. Just leave me alone. I'm the problem. I'm the one who made you like this. As she says this. Izuku, just listen to me. As Izuku just says this. Fine. But we need to go inside first. So, after the big three arrives and goes into his, well, dorm room, they see Eri. As Izuku lets Eri play with Tamaki. As Izuku just says this. What is it? Nejuri. As she says this. You don't really need to be sorry. I'm okay. It all that matters is all things that matter is just I'm okay. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry for jumping into danger. I just thought that you were, as Izuku just says this. I'm sorry too. I was just so enraged. I was just so enraged that I was just so absorbed in my vengeance that I made the person that I love jump into danger. I'm sorry. As Mirio says this. Don't worry, and besides, vengeance and hatred is just a normal thing. You know that? As Izuku just says this. You're right. As Tamaki says this. Can we leave? I really want to do something else. As Mirio says this. Okay, we can leave now. As everybody leaves, except for Nedry. As Nedry says this. Goodbye. As she gives a big kiss on Izuku's lips. She basically, just like the whole, thing, she puts her hands on Izuku's, face and kisses him, I meant. As she says this. Goodbye. After Izuku gets the kiss, Izuku just, touches his lips. As Izuku just says this. See ya. Hope to see you again. My sweet. So, after Izuku does that, Izuku goes back to bed and says goodnight to Eri as Izuku goes to sleep. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.